I don't know why, but my hair's not looking good today. It's all good.
It's okay. I tried like a curling thing too, and it like looks it's still wet. Like I took a shower like 3 hours ago, and my hair's still wet. So we're just looking a little rough together. It's okay.
It's fine. Okay,
We're just being authentic.
I'm glad it's a mutual thing. All right. The authenticity is potent. That's a big word.
Yes.
That's a big word, Elmo. I gotta get the
Dude,
plug
I
in.
could really use one of those.
For real.
For real.
That's why I
I've been
made.
drinking water. Oh, also in the middle of this, I'm gonna have to take my antibiotics. So,
Oh yeah.
because I have strep. Why did the thumbs up come out? Do you see that?
Yeah. I really hope the screen recording catches that because that's funny.
That was epic.
Mm-hmm. Hello, welcome to the Worst of Us podcast. I am obviously your sleep paralysis demon, and I'm here with Bella VanSlyke.
Yeah.
How are you?
I am tired, to be honest.
No,
There's something about a dorm bed that doesn't work.
yeah, I think those dorm beds are just designed to just like not be comfortable, but just make you like the minimum amount of sleep you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? I'm glad you do because I didn't know if I was like making myself clear with that statement.
No, I got you.
Okay, I'm glad. This is the third episode and obviously the best one.
Yeah, because I'm in it.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
No hate to everybody else.
No hate
Everybody else
to
is
the
great.
previous two episodes or anyone else after this. But like, you know, yeah. So I want to talk about first, you kind of brought this up, but college. How are things over at your respective college?
My respective college is all right. It's all right. My classes this semester are like stressing me out. I'm like the only freshman in like most of my classes, and it's terrifying because I already don't talk to people, but like now I like literally don't know anybody, and it's terrifying. I'm like, I hate it. I hate it here.
What
Um,
what level classes are you taking? Like, or is it sophomore, junior, or
I'm taking a few 400 level classes because
wow.
yeah, my advisor put me in these classes, and he was like, "Here, I just like threw a schedule together. If you're cool with this, we don't need to meet. If you're not, like, we can still meet and talk about it." And I was like, "I would like to meet because my last semester, like, my first semester was like rough. Like, I got fine grades and like we got through it, but it was rough." So I come to the meeting and I'm like, hey, so last semester was really hard for me. I had a hard time like keeping up on things. Like I did it and my grades are fine, but like it was rough. And I was hoping like, is this gonna be an okay semester? And he's like, oh yeah, the classes aren't very hard. It's just kind of like tedious. And I was like, all right. And he was teaching most of the classes, so I was like, he would know. It's been 1 week, and I was like almost had like a panic attack in one of my class.
Oh no.
Because we were supposed to talk and there's like 12 people, and I found out that I did do an assignment that I didn't know was due, but apparently nobody did. It wasn't just me, so I felt better about myself. But I was sitting there like, oh my god, I'm gonna fail. But I'm sure it'll get better. It's all about positivity.
It's such a universal feeling of like relief when someone else says, don't worry, I didn't do the assignment as well.
Oh my god. Or like they're like, I haven't studied yet either.
Yeah, no, it's
I haven't
so
started
great.
the project yet either.
It really makes you feel better about yourself.
You're like, okay, so we're all procrastinating. It's not just me.
Okay.
Got it.
I'm so glad. This is not a nice.
We're all screwed.
We're all screwed here. I can't get over the fact that like your advisor says they'll be easy classes, but also teaches those classes. So I feel like he's a little biased, I guess.
Yeah, so actually, I was thinking that last night because the classes that one of the classes that I have with him literally only has 12 people. So I bet he was like, I'm not gonna be able to teach this class unless I get more people.
That's why. That's actually kind of genius.
Dude, it is. And then the other one I'm taking stats for psychologists
Wow.
with him, which is a 200 level class, but there's a lab. And so basically you're like have to do all this stuff on like Microsoft Excel and then like SPSS, like these programs for stats. But I've never used either of them before. And the only review we got was like on a slideshow during a lecture. And actually, during that lecture, I was doodling instead of paying attention because I was tired. I didn't want to be there. And so we get to this lab and he like goes through like really quick again. But I'm like, I'm more of a person like I need to be like doing it with you to know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just explaining it through these slides. And so then he's like, all right, any questions? And we're like, no, I don't think so. He's like, okay, so I'll see you at next class. And he just leaves. And so we have 2 hours to like figure this shit out by ourselves. And I was like, bro, we had like 2 teachers assistants, so they've like taken stats before. And so like I asked them like so many dumb questions. Like I was probably like, I felt really embarrassed, but I was like, I don't know what's going on. And it was the most stressful 2 hours in my life. That was last night.
That was last
It was rough.
night.
Yeah, it was really rough.
That is, oh no. Oh man. And all you have are the doodles to decipher how to do it.
Like literally, like I'm trying to look at the slides that he posted too, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense because it's like we were supposed to find the mean of whatever data set. You know, we all know that you just add it up and then divide it by like how many things were there. Like it's easy to find the average. Like that's like something you've known for a while. Most people know it. We'll say that. But you're supposed to do it through the program. And I was like, I don't know like what to type. And so I'd like ask and apparently do like equal sign, average, parentheses, then you highlight the whole thing and you enter and then it'll give you the average. And I'm like, or I could just like write it down the old fashioned way,
You know,
and do it like that. But no, apparently not. But yeah, that was stressful. That was rough.
I'm gonna sound like a boomer for a second. Like back in my day, we wrote our stuff down.
Literally, that is actually like a thing. I hate how everything is online.
Yeah.
I hate it so like I want the worksheet. I want to write it down. I want to kill the trees. RIP the trees, but I need to kill the trees so I can use the paper so I can do my homework.
Exactly.
And I also feel like I forget everything. If it's online, like I'm not gonna like I'm more likely to forget that than if I know I have like a piece of paper in a folder that I have to look at because I received it. Like literally. I don't know.
I want to talk about a specific topic with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was planning out these topics and then I saw a TikTok of yours that said your icks. Could you care to explain what icks are?
So icks are like when you think you might like someone or you do like someone and then they like do something and you just immediately are like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Like that's too far. You know what I mean?
So isn't it kind of like red flags, I guess, in like people
It's like, yeah, I think red flags can be a part of it, but also it can be like just things that you just are like, yeah. And it's not even like that's a toxic trait. Like you're just like, that's gonna bother me.
Okay.
You know? Right.
That's good to know. And I want to talk about icks. Like what are some icks?
Some of my icks, one of them is like when they like chew with their mouth open or they talk with like food in their mouth but like don't cover it. You know, like sometimes you like have to say something so you're like, oh my gosh, like I need to say something but you're covering it. But when they'll just like openly just like eat like that's such a turn off. Like, I literally hate that so much. It's disgusting. And I'm also like, you're like at least 18 years old. Like you should know how to eat.
You can get away with that shit in like elementary school, but like
yeah, like we're considered adults now, so sometimes you have to try to act like that, you know, like maybe Also, there's this like joke. I don't know if people understand this, but like the jeans,
The
um,
jeans?
the jeans. So they're like a specific type of jeans that have like the weird like pattern on them, where they're like a 3D. Like, hold on, I'm gonna find a reference picture of these
Yeah.
jeans because
I
they are
think
like 100% a red flag. They're
I think I know
disgusting,
what you're
and
talking about.
I don't know. Like, okay,
I'm gonna
um,
try to like draw it on this handy dandy marker board, which sucks for people who are just listening and not watching. But like,
yes. Oh my god, all I did was look up ugly guy jeans, and they popped up. Okay, let
all
me
right,
find a good
got
pic-
a drawing. I'm
Yes,
painting just the lines on the
yes,
knee.
we're on the same page. So they have like the weird, like, I can't really tell on here, but they're weird patterns and they're like whitewashed and like
Oh,
ripped in like random places, and you're just like, for why?
yeah, that's
The one guy that I specifically remember wore those jeans ended up calling me a libtard for wanting to wear a suit to prom. So like we know that those jeans are like a huge red flag. Like
oh,
hugely
yeah,
like gross. We stay away from those men
yeah.
at
That
all times.
I don't know why anyone would like actually wear those types of jeans. The only way I would ever wear those jeans if I got tricked into wearing those jeans. You know what I'm saying?
And that's good. Like I'm proud of you for knowing that those are not the jeans to wear.
Yeah.
Some people.
It's like
I'm trying to think of my other icks I had too.
I feel like those I could talk about the jeans all day, but like I
Dude,
feel like
literally, those things are awful.
those jeans I
Oh,
feel like are associated with like yee yee, like the country boys.
yes. And sometimes okay, I will speak for the country boys. Sometimes they can be great. Some of them are really great. But then
Yeah.
you have like the country boys, and it's like their whole personality is their like shit truck that they've been fixing up for the past 5 years, and it still looks like shit. Those people, they're scary. They scare me.
Mhm.
We stay away. We stay away.
Slightly off topic. I love it when people like differentiate groups by the way they enunciate. Like, oh, there's the country boys, and then there's the
There's
country boys.
yeah. I do it all the
So
time.
fun. That's so fun. I've always heard like, oh, there's the theater kids, and then there's
And
the
then there's the
theater kid.
theater.
Anyways, what are some other icks?
I have a weird one that's just me. I think
Okay.
being too tall. I know
Really?
it's every girl's dream to have like a boyfriend that's like way taller than them.
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes when I talk to guys that are like way taller than me, I get like uncomfortable and I feel like they're like really old, but like they're not. And that's like one thing that's different about college too, is that like I feel young as an 18-year-old, and then like I meet 20-year-olds and I'm like, oh my god, you're an adult. But like that's only 2 years older than me. But
Yeah.
like but at the same time, I'm like, no, like you're too big. You're too old. Even though like they're not, and like they're not being weird. Like they're
Yeah.
just like talking to me. But sometimes like if I have to like there's a difference between like there's a person and like I'm shorter. I'm getting like I'm the shorter end of average, I'd say. I'm like 5'4", 5'3" or 5'4". I can't remember. So like I'm not super tall. So obviously I'm gonna have to look up to talk to most people. But if I have to like strain myself to look up, like no,
Yeah.
like I no. I also like like my boyfriend is like maybe like 2 inches taller than me, and so I think I'm just like comfortable with that and like never moved on from that. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, like you don't have to like you gotta just move it slightly and not like
Yeah, like I don't know why. Like I think this ick is just specifically to me. I think it's weird. I think it's a weird ick I have.
I feel like some people could relate to the ick. I don't think it's just an isolated thing, but like I don't think it's a universal thing. I'm like mentally writing all of this down. I got the jeans. I don't already like chew with my mouth open because I know that's disgusting. Learned
Mhm.
that the hard way. And then being too tall, that one I might have some trouble with because
I don't know. I don't feel like you're like. you're not like super, like you're not like 6'7", you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. Once people hit like 6 foot, I'm like, cool, like you're tall,
Stay
you're
there.
big. But, like as like a tiny person, I feel like that's like intimidating. That's like scary.
6 foot.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just a personal thing.
I would totally like stand up to see how tall I am, but I got the bed
Yeah,
here. I
let's
can't
not injure ourselves.
concussion. That would make for some great content. Live concussion.
You just hit your head and it just cuts off. Like that's the end. That's will be the end of our discussion today. Thanks for joining us.
I for the third and last episode of the podcast, I get concussed.
That'd be so rough.
I think I'd be the first person to intentionally get concussed on a podcast.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you would. Maybe you'd go down in history. Like Brandon Sams,
The
first and only person to purposely concuss themselves during a podcast.
You know, hearing this kind of makes me want to do it more.
Is it worth the fame?
If you know, the more we talk about it, the more I'm starting to consider it.
Okay, maybe not. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
New ick, wanting to concuss yourself. Brandon, don't be ick.
Oh no. I can't. Now I can't do it.
Good.
Yeah.
Now that we've solved that problem. What are my other icks that I wrote down? Maybe I should watch my TikTok again.
Yeah.
I just wrote them down on the spot.
Casual self promo.
Casual self. Everyone follow my TikTok. It's followed at VanSlyke. I don't post that much because
I'm totally gonna mute it just out
Yeah.
of spite.
I won't even play. I'm just gonna look at what I wrote. I'm
gonna look at it too.
No ad. Please go away. Okay. Let's see. Oh, well, I got a good one.
Yeah.
Never makes plans.
Oh.
That annoys the crap out of me.
Mhm.
Like I hate when people are like, they're like when they're like, do you want to hang out? And they're like, sure. Or you say like sure, and then you're like, what do you want to do? And they're like, I don't know. We can just like hang out at home. Like, I don't want to sit and watch a movie with you for our whole relationship. Like that's boring. That's gross. And like I had somebody do that. I was like in a relationship with somebody who did that, and yeah, that really annoyed me. And I never said anything. I wish I said something, but instead of saying anything, I just like I broke up with them. So, I mean, there were other factors to it as well, but that was one of the things where I was like, bro, come on.
You know, someone who's listening to this podcast, one of their icks has got to be breaking up instead of talking. you realize this?
Yeah, probably. But they're a great person, and I've talked to them about everything after we dated. So like, there's no tension.
I'm
They're
glad.
Chill. Shout out to that person. We just don't
shout out. I don't know if you're listening, but if you are,
shout out to you.
I want to talk about one more ick.
Okay.
Or 1 to 2. I don't know. I don't want to stay on icks too much, but
no, okay.
They're fun to talk about.
That's they why
are. So we did. I'm just looking over the reference. We did never made plans. Chew with their mouth open. Is one of the icks really just tenor? Like, do you not like?
Okay. I have a reason for that. I should have put tenor and lead because the stereotype of tenors and leads, not all of them, because like some of my best friends were like tenors and leads. Like, were you a lead or were you lower?
I was a bass.
Oh, you were. Oh, pop off! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Dude, good for you. But like I have like great friends who were tenors and leads. Mm-hmm. But some of them just think that they're like the shit for being a tenor and lead.
Oh yeah.
Like they're like, I can sing high notes as a man. And it's like, congratulations.
Good for you.
Like, cool. And so like they have this like overconfidence. It's like the overconfidence that like they bring from this whole like I'm this person to like their whole lives. And I'm like, okay. Because I think confidence is really important. But
Mhm.
there's something about like thinking you're like the best at everything that just frustrates me. Or like there are also the people to go like randomly start singing really loud in like the hallway, and you're like, I don't
Yeah,
need that right now. Like like, like you're great, but like
yeah. Like
please
I
don't.
this isn't High School Musical. Like
Literally, like I'm a theater kid too, but
yeah,
I'm not a theater kid, and you're
not
being
a
a theater kid. Yeah, so that's kind of like the preface of why tenor is there.
the best way to differentiate a theater kid with a theater kid. Um, Theater kids know they're theater kids, but theater kids don't know they're theater kids. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yes.
Mhm.
Word for word. Got it.
That's not really a good way to differentiate the two, but like if
It works. If you're in
class,
theater, you know.
yeah, you know. If you know, you know.
Exactly.
I got one more. One more I kind
Okay.
of want to talk about. Um, because I have a feeling there's a good story with this.
Yes,
Um,
go ahead.
Saying I love you too soon.
Okay. So now I really hope this person doesn't listen to the podcast
We can
because
do
I
it
haven't
differently.
talked about this.
We can
No,
do it
no,
differently.
this needs to be said. This needs to
Okay.
be said.
This is
And
yeah.
if this person listens, I will talk to them about it later. But so in this relationship, to be honest, I can't remember if this was before we started dating or right after, but it was like really close to like the beginning of our relationship. And they had recently just broken up with somebody and then started dating me. So it was like pretty close. And we were hanging out, and one day they just said it. They were just like, I love you. And I was really taken back because I'd never said that to anybody other than like my friends. Like,
Mhm.
in like a more platonic way, or like my family does. Like I'm not like heartless, but so I was like, like I didn't know what to do with myself. And so I just said, I also like want to preface that like I'm kind of a mean person. Some people might not know that, but like sometimes I just say whatever I'm thinking and it's like comes off really rude.
Mhm.
But so they said this and I just looked at them and I was like, did you tell your ex that? And and then they were like, yeah. So I was like
That's
like
wow.
dude, like so I didn't say it for like a little bit, but I kind of felt bad and I eventually said it back. But what's worse is that by the end of the relationship, only I was saying it.
Oh no.
So that was like really rough. So that was just kind of like a big red flag. Another thing too is like for me, like love is like saying I love you for me is like a big deal. Like I
Mhm.
don't say that like lightly. I'm not just gonna go up to some random person and be like, oh my god, I love you, because like I don't. Like I
Yeah.
don't love you yet. Like I will get to that point if such,
Same.
if it happens, whatever.
Mhm.
And like all and like also I think because of like my parents, so we're gonna get a little deep really quick, but I think it's necessary.
This is a good
Because my
out.
parents are like divorced multiple times, I
Mhm.
think like being like saying you love somebody is like extra serious because like you should mean it. Like I don't want to mess that up. And the person I was with had like a parents that had been together for like ever, were doing great at the time, whatever. So like I think they had like a different view on it. So
Mhm.
they were more open to saying it than I was. So it's kind of like, mm,
Did the
yeah.
thumbs up just come back on?
Yes, the Zoom agrees. Zoom agrees with my statement.
Like go
Saying I
off,
love you
sis.
too soon is
Go
like a
off, sis.
thing,
Love you too.
literally.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
That's
that's the story. It's a little awkward, but
mhm.
people need to know. You shouldn't say it too soon. There is a too soon. There's a great time to do it,
Oh, boy.
and you should really make sure you mean it before you say it.
Do you think for any audience members who may be in this boat, what do you think is a good time to say I love you, or does it vary between in relationships?
I think it varies, because of like the situation. Like for example, my most recent and like kind of current, there were some rough things with my relationship at the moment. I got back in on that. We're like chilling. But when this person said I love you, it was 2 months into our relationship, which some people might think is a little early, like on the early side. But we had been talking and like being relatively, I'd say like relatively exclusive, because it's not like we were like, you can't talk to anybody else or like anything like that, but like for like a year before we started dating. So I feel like that was like a reasonable time, because like I had liked this person for so long and they had liked me for so long that like it made sense. But like for some people, it's like the people who just jump right into dating, like like who like don't do like the friendship before, which is like totally fine, like you do you, but like I've never done that. I feel like 2 months might be too soon, like
Yeah.
for you, because you're like, we like, whoa, yo. I think it really just depends on like your relationship and how you feel about it. Like I think it's like a conversation, and I think people need to normalize like not saying I love you back, in like the
Really?
sense of
What do you
like
mean?
if somebody says I love you and you're like in a relationship with them, I feel like it sucks to like not get it back, but I think there should be like an open communication of just being like, I really care about you too, but I don't want to say that until like I know. And like it would hurt. I think it would hurt for somebody to say that to me, but I'd rather them like be honest with me and like have the little pain for a minute than like be living this like lie of like them telling me that they love me when they don't, you know?
Yeah. No,
That's my opinion.
I never really thought about it that way, but now you like say that. Yeah, I agree. Like the
Yeah,
whole
I think it should be like chill.
live a lie. That's a
Yeah.
speaking of icks, Spider-Man does like ick. That's a sound effect.
Yeah, definitely. No, that was a great segue
The
to the
thing
next
about
topic.
the thing about being a podcast host, you gotta perfect the segues, or else it's like just chaos.
Exactly. No. So respect. So Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man No Way Home. We both saw it.
Yes.
I'm gonna talk about it. I don't know. I was like going back and forth on whether or not we should do spoilers. I think we should, because the movie's been out for like a month now.
Yes. I
And if
agree.
people wanted to see it, they would have saw it by now.
Yeah, we'll just say spoiler warning
Spoiler
in case
warning.
anybody is going to be upset about this,
Mm-hmm.
but I
There,
also don't care.
there'll be timestamps you could skip. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
But if you want to talk spoilers, this is the time.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I can't believe Pete Davidson was the Green Goblin the entire time.
Dude, that was wild.
It was so wild.
No. Okay.
All
For
right.
real though, Spider-Man No Way Home was an emotional roller coaster for me. Like
Mhm.
I was that bitch crying in the theater. Like that was me, and it was like multiple times. Like it was even my dad was like, Bella, that's weird. And I was like, Dad, shut up, man.
This is my, I'm
Like
having a moment.
bro,
Yeah.
like this movie's hit home, because there was 3 moments where I know I cried, or at least it was like tearing up. Like I wasn't trying to be like, like in the middle of the theater. Like,
I can guarantee one. I know one.
go ahead, guess.
Ant-Man. Well, Aunt May. Did I say Ant-Man?
Yeah,
No,
that guy.
Aunt May dying.
That killed me. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, because first of all, props to Tom Holland for being literally an amazing actor. He's so good. Like, man makes me feel things like as if he's like actually feeling like he's great. He's great at his job. Like, wow. So like the way that he reacts to it and deals with it, like as like Spider-Man, that sent me. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry in this theater, and I did,
Yeah.
and it happens. The second time was when Spider-Man had to say goodbye to MJ and
Oh.
Ned. And then she was like, I love you, and then like wouldn't let him say it back because there's my alarm. Okay. Gotta take my antibiotics. Sorry, I just like glitched.
Yeah.
Gotta take my drugs. That sent me to. I was like, that really hurt, because I was like, no, like I want them to be together, because I hate romance in movies
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, but theirs was so like realistic and like to like what a high schooler is like, or like what it actually is like, that I actually liked it, because I was like, this is genuine in my opinion compared to
Yeah.
most. Mhm.
I can talk while you're doing drugs.
Just so you know.
I genuinely think that like a lot of movies tend to miss the ball on like what actual high school relationships like, because they
Yeah.
obviously like they have to cast like adults or like 20 somethings because sometimes the stuff they're filming isn't like teen friendly to film, I guess,
Mhm.
if you know what I'm saying. But by doing that, they kind of just lose the whole I feel like adults get a little too in their head when they're making like relationships in movies because yeah.
I feel like they add too much spice or drama to it, which like yeah, like some high school relationships are totally dramatic or are totally like spicy, like they got things going on. But like an average like two nerds dating in high school is like what they do in this movie, which I and like all their movies that they've done with Tom Holland and Zendaya, like they both do like a really good job in my opinion. Of like there's obviously like attention there and there's obviously like they obviously care about each other and you see that and so you feel that, but you're also like not uncomfortable with
Yeah.
them, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that part made me cry again. And then the next time that made me cry was when he was gonna go meet her at the coffee shop after she forgot about him. And then he decided not to do anything, which was like totally like the most like mature thing ever. Like just like leave her out of this. But also I was like, part of me wanted them to be together so bad. And I was like, if they get a second chance. And then he was like, I'm gonna just leave her. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was crying again. And that's embarrassing. I cried 3 times in this movie. And then I watched it the
Well,
second time
just
and I almost cried all 3 of those times again. So like that's also awesome.
I think they're all justified, honestly, though.
I
But
appreciate that.
I would have totally guessed like another time to cry uh was when Andrew Garfield Spider-Man saves MJ. You know what I'm
Oh my
talking.
gosh. Yeah. That wasn't like a crying moment for me because to be honest,
It's just like
I'm like no, I'm like a fake fan. Like I haven't seen many of the Star Wars or not the Star Wars films. No, I've seen all the Star Wars films. I'm not a big fan of that sense. But I've not seen many of the Spider-Man films.
mhm.
I think I saw like one of Andrew Garfield's and then like two of Tobey Maguire's and like one of them was like his weird musical one that happened at the end there. So I was like
Oh,
not really invested. Um so like I didn't know like a lot, but I did know about how he lost his MJ and like how it happened. Like that clip is literally everywhere on social media and like I also like had talked to my dad about it. So like yeah, when that scene happened, I was like I felt it and it hurt, but I don't think I was like as emotionally connected to it because of like my lack of fandom.
yeah, that would explain it. I've like, you want to hear a funny story about Amazing Spider-Man 2?
I would love
Um,
to.
that was my Mother's Day gift. Because I wanted to see the movie, and it was like coming out around Mother's Day. I sort of convinced my mom, like, hey, we should go see Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is did she like it? Was it great? Was it
She,
good?
she thought it was okay. and we
That's hilarious.
and we pulled the same shit with Captain America Civil War, which if you know is I'm talking to the audience now for a hot second. You know, it's Tom Holland's debut as Spider-Man in the MCU. So it's a weird connection, but for that one, it was she liked the movie better, but there was this like one guy in like a Captain America shirt just being like, that's in the comics. It's like your
The whole
stereotypical nerd in like every single like stereotype imaginable for nerd and like a
I
back.
was like I was that person who dressed up for a movie
Mm-hmm.
when The Force Awakens came out and I dressed up with my dad in our Star Wars attire to
Yeah.
be the nerds. And when you get there, like people went like full out, like full on Jedi or like full on Princess Leia. And then the movie was a little disappointing.
Really?
But we
For the
don't need to get into that. The whole new Star Wars thing, the whole thing, in my opinion,
mm-hmm.
is no bueno.
Yeah.
Because they just tried a lot of things that I was like, for why?
Mm.
But like, we don't need to get to that. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 cents.
That's a good 2 cents to have, but I agree with that. Spider-Man though.
Yeah.
Do you- um, I've heard news that they want to do another trilogy with Tom Holland in college. Do you
Mhm.
think got another thumbs up?
There's a thumbs up.
I really hope the screen recording gets the thumbs up because that's so funny. If
That
not,
is
I'm gonna
really
be
funny.
really disappointed. Also, I'm gonna have to edit my own thumbs up like in the corner, like right over here.
I think
Um,
it's worth it.
anyways, as I was saying, they want to do a Tom Holland college trilogy.
Hmm.
As a fan, would you actually want a Tom Holland college trilogy, or do you think it should go to like, say, Miles Morales or someone else?
Um, I would like to say, as a woman, I would love to see another movie with Tom Holland in it because he's gorgeous. And I will, like, I want to see him. And then also Zendaya, once again, as a woman,
Yeah.
I would love to see another film with Zendaya because I love her and she's also gorgeous. Like,
Mhm.
they're amazing. So, like, yeah, I think, I think it'd be interesting to see him in college
Mhm.
because, I think he has more potential. Like, I think there's more like to do, and it's interesting because he's now, if you think about it, not part of the Marvel universe in a sense.
Mhm.
Because like the Avengers don't know who he is. Like nobody remembers who he is.
Yeah.
So he's not like going to be a part of that anymore. So he has like a path that he can do like on his own, which I think will be interesting. And I think you could use that to put Miles Morales in because like I think we need a Miles Morales like 100% too. Like I think that'd be awesome because of what the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, like I know that was just like a cartoon, but like that movie was literally amazing.
I'm so excited for the sequel this year.
Yeah, like that was great, and I'm like that was like a great way to introduce like it wouldn't be like the same character in a sense, but like to introduce this idea of like bringing Miles Morales into like movies, and I would totally be down to see that. I think if like if he's in college and he goes to college wherever, I don't even know if he is in college actually because he just got an apartment
Mm-hmm.
and he nobody knows who he is, so he has like no applicants. But if he just lived in the city and he like meets this kid, like he could be like a mentor, he could be a buddy. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I'm kind of down for whatever because they've been doing so good with it so far. It'd be really hard to mess it up, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. I just realized something. Like while you're talking, the spell that Doctor Strange does is everyone forgets who Peter Parker is.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean the Avengers forgot who Spider-Man is? Because they're not like they don't seem to be synonymous. They'll like Doctor Strange will probably forget who Peter Parker is, but did he forget who Spider-Man is? Because
Well,
if
I think everybody knows Spider-Man because like after the memory thing, like they have like that news report where it literally says like
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man, show your face, like blah blah. So I think like they still know, but like they don't know who to contact anymore. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
because it's he's Peter Parker, so like he's more free to do whatever he wants without like that connection, I guess. But it's like so like it's sad because there's no like personal connection anymore either. Like Doctor Strange doesn't remember Peter Parker. He might remember that he helped out Spider-Man with something or Spider-Man fought with him during like Infinity War and Endgame and like such and such. But like who is he? Like there's no
I don't
way
know.
to know in a sense. So I don't know.
I can't wait to see what they do.
I know,
Um,
I'm excited.
are you ready for this amazing, amazing segue?
So ready.
So Tom Holland was in Billy Elliot. Billy Elliot is a theater thing. Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about theater.
theater. Um, we've both had very, very different, I think, experiences with theater, you'd say.
I think so. Like we're both in the same theater area, but like we're two different people who did two different things. Yes, like we had
We
different
are not
experiences.
actually the same person.
I know as many people will tell me that me and Brandon are the same. We're actually not, and
Yeah.
it comes as a shocker.
This whole
Every time.
podcast is just to prove that we are actually two different people.
Literally.
Mhm.
No, theater for me was pretty epic for most of the time. I loved theater.
Mhm.
It was exhausting and all that, but I think I made most of my close friends through theater. I actually started doing theater personally in like elementary school when my church would have like Christmas musicals, and I was favorited big time, so I usually got a lead. And so like when I went into junior high, I got humbled because like 7th grade I got ensemble, which was so much fun. Like I'm not even gonna pretend like I didn't have a good time. Like I had so much fun. I got to dance with someone who's significantly taller than me, so there was a lot of jokes about that.
That's yak.
And yeah,
That's all that.
I actually it didn't really bother me that much. But I wasn't like crushing on him, so like that I feel like it's different. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking.
But I just remember like to this day, every once in a while I'll get the video sent to me of somebody watching it and they're like, "You're tiny." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I was 4'8" in 7th grade. Like we know.
Mhm.
Moving on. Like so I had a lot of fun with that. And then 8th grade was James and the Giant Peach, which was to me, I thought was epic.
Mhm.
But that's biased because I got to play the main character.
You got to be the peach, right?
Obviously.
Yeah. Mhm.
I got to play a prepubescent boy because that's what I looked like. So prepubescent boy. And I could sing high enough. It was like me,
Mhm.
Haley Clack, and Nick Altino were like the top options for it. I remember it. And nothing makes you feel better about your insecurities and not looking feminine than getting a role as a little boy. That just really, really ties the knot.
That really,
But I
yeah.
actually had a lot of fun. I
Mhm.
really liked that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about your junior high experience?
My junior high experience. I haven't really done theater before junior high, admittedly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I feel like, especially in junior high, I had mad imposter syndrome sometimes, but I had a lot of fun. My 7th grade year, I got to play a role called the mute king, where
Yeah, which was such like I would like to say that was the most interesting role I've ever heard of in my entire life.
yeah,
And I thought it was so fun that you did it. Like I thought you did such a good job considering like the lack of like any like there was nothing that they gave, like you didn't get a script that was like here's what to say, like you had to like make it all happen, and I thought it was cool.
yeah, it was very confusing, but like it was fun. Also mildly humbled because I went into the audition like singing and I was like, yeah, I got this. And then they gave me a part that doesn't have any singing nor lines till the very end.
Yeah.
So I feel like we both kind of got humbled a little bit.
Yeah, but like sometimes you need to be humbled. You like
Mhm.
the world's
Especially
like
in
sit
middle school.
down.
Especially
Yeah,
in
middle school's a great time to be humbled
yeah.
because you're all so weird and we all think we're the shit, and sometimes you just need to be sat down and be like, no, you're not.
You are not.
You're not.
Yeah. And then 8th grade year, obviously I was the peach, the giant peach. So we both were title characters, I guess.
Oh yeah.
There's no way for anyone to disprove that.
No,
Yeah,
there isn't.
there isn't. They're just gonna
Um
do some mad research and be like, I don't think he was.
yeah.
Mhm.
So junior high was cool. Junior high is when I met most of my friends, I think. Like, shout out to Kenzie Chapman. She was like my
I
closest
don't know
friend,
if
and
she's
that's
gonna
where I met
listen,
her.
but shout out.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, if she does. But like I remember she was always low because she's diabetic, for people who don't know. I had low blood sugar right before her solo. So she'll tell you to this day she doesn't remember ever singing that solo because she was always low. But so we'd all be in the peach, like try to feed her fruit snacks at intermission, and then like the curtain would pull and she'd have to sing her little solo, and we're like, woman, like this happens every day. Um, but yeah, I got really close with her, and then like Connor Vashon, he's another shout out. Like I had known him through elementary school, so we were pretty close. But I think like theater like brought us together a little bit more.
Mhm.
I actually got really close with Lucy Michael. She probably doesn't listen to this, to be honest. I don't know
Yeah,
what she's doing with her
I
life.
haven't.
Shout out to her. I
Shout out
think
to
she's
her.
living her best life, and I think that's great. But
Hmm.
we were close at that time, and theater really helped. I think we didn't like stay super close for a long time, but I felt like I felt pretty good. But one thing that I remember from that show was this like drama of like people thought the insects, we were called insects, just the main characters essentially,
Yeah.
were exclusive and like all this stuff, and that we were being like this clique, which made me feel really bad because I felt like I wasn't a part of that. And I definitely knew I wasn't because our director pulled aside everybody but me and Nick Altina to have this conversation about how we were exclusive. So it was like me and Nick were apparently doing great. Like
Hey,
we were
good for
apparently
you.
being nice.
Good for you.
Um, yeah, so thank you. But it made me feel so bad because it's like hard. And one thing I learned even going, especially going through high school and theater, is that like the main cast is gonna get close
Mhm.
because they have more rehearsals than everybody else, or more like rehearsals just that group than everybody else. So like yeah, they're gonna hang out more because they have to work more together,
Yeah.
like in this tiny group. And so I think unfortunately it does happen where it feels exclusive, but I don't really think all the time, because there are a few times where I would disagree with this, but I don't think most people do it on purpose. Like I don't think the insects like were trying to be mean. Like
Mhm.
we just happen, like I mean like we're like eighth graders.
Yeah.
Like we're not trying to be dicks. Like we just doing our job, you know? I don't know. So that was
I
kind of my thing.
yeah, I feel like especially the only reason I think that drama happened is because in middle school I feel like everyone wants to be like friends with every single person and not have a single
Yeah.
bit of drama happen. But so if anyone feels like they're being left out, that's like a personal attack because it, you know,
Yeah. It's
not to
like
say,
immaturity.
yeah. And but middle school breeds immaturity. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like we said, you need to be humbled in middle school.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. But yeah, so I enjoyed that show. And then high school came, and it was like my world was flipped upside down because like I liked theater, but then high school made me love theater. Like I loved it to an extent. We'll say to an extent because high school theater also caused me to cry a lot.
Mhm.
But like we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But freshman year we did Hunchback, and I was like, this is amazing because, well, first of all, I was a first soprano throughout high school, and well, even junior high. But like when you're a first soprano in junior high, you're basically like singing second soprano note, like you're singing like a normal range. So like it was like cool, and I loved the choir and everything, but like I didn't get to like reach my full potential. And then freshman year, she was like, "You're for soprano, sing this like high note," and I was like, "I can do this. This is epic!" Like I thought it was the coolest thing, and the music was just fantastic. I loved it so much, but there was so much drama in that show,
Oh yeah.
with the upperclassmen, which was like I was confused because I'm like this little baby freshman that literally nobody talked to me very much, like except like the ensemble, which
Yeah.
was like it happens, but like so like people didn't really know who I was, and so I wasn't getting in on like all the tea, and I also didn't do the play because I was doing cross country, so like I was kind of like out of the loop to start into my musical career, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But basically, the director's son got the lead role, but he vocally couldn't do it. And so
Oh,
other people who felt like they should have gotten that role were like very upset. And there was a day where we actually had to sit down and talk about how like people need to calm down, and like it's not the big of a deal, you need to move on. But people did think it was super biased because we did have to change like the key of some songs or the notes that he sang because he couldn't hit it or it didn't work in his voice. And like it's like it was not super problematic for us like as like the actors, but for like the pit, like that's annoying. Like that's super annoying to have to like change stuff. So yeah, so that was kind of like interesting, but I loved that show. I loved performing it. I cried after every performance because like the ending was so moving to me. And I met a lot of people then too that like ended up being really close throughout high school. So like there's always like ups and downs. It was just like exhausting, you know. Sophomore year, I quit cross country so I could do the play. I was not 100% happy with that decision because I didn't love the play, but that was like a personal thing. Like that was just like me. So like it wasn't like anything about the play was bad. It was just like I could be running right now, which like sounds terrible, but I actually really liked running. Like I actually really enjoyed it. It was Robin Hood. I think this play was written by a friend of our directors, which was like super cool. Like that was like super fun. But I like had never done a play before, and you were less involved in a play, like because there's not like a huge musical number where everybody has to sing and dance. Like if you aren't in the scene, you aren't necessary to be there. You know what I mean? So I think it was like different for me to like be there as an ensemble character in a play. Like it was a different experience, and I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't think I enjoyed it as much, simply because I was uneducated.
You were in Mary Poppins, right?
I was.
Okay. I had to double check because like I don't remember Mary Poppins that much, honestly.
Dude, I loved Mary Poppins to an extent.
Yeah. That's
Are we gonna talk about Mary Poppins? Are we
I
changing
feel
the
like
subject?
we should now. I feel like we
Okay, well, so Mary Poppins was sophomore year musical, and I was in the ensemble, which was like I don't think I had a role that I specifically like wanted. So I was kind of like, okay, like I wasn't like hurt or anything. And I found actually that being in the ensemble in theater is actually like a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun than people like to say it is. Because you get to do like so many things and you get to be part of like so many things. I love it. So I had one costume that I absolutely loved. It was like, you know, your little like townspeople costume for a few scenes.
Yeah.
And I had like it was really cute. And then there's the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious costume that made me so insecure. I hated it. I actually have a picture. I'll see if I can find it really quick.
Yeah.
Of me in like the dressing, like me like trying it out for the first time. I took a picture of me with it, and I was like, "What is this?" Because I'd also like to preface that my parents were like really conservative with how I was allowed to dress,
Okay.
and I wasn't allowed to wear leggings without a long shirt. And this outfit was that, and so I felt really provocative personally, even though like that's like a totally normal outfit to wear, and I have no issues with it. But like at the time, like I thought it was like really like it was sinful. Also, the outfit itself was just ugly. It was just incredibly ugly, and I hated it. Like a lovely picture of me wearing it.
Oh, that's
Me
right.
being scared to death. So I looked like the stereotype of the 80s threw up on me because this is not really what the 80s looked like unless you went to a roller rink every day. I hated it. But you do things, you sacrifice things, you're humbled in theater to enjoy the experience. So like it was another humbling moment. So that was interesting. I do remember we had somebody pass out on stage one day.
You know,
That was wild because I had no
that
idea.
distinctly.
I had no idea because I was totally like not involved in it at all.
Mhm.
Like because you were a statue, right? And this person was
Yeah.
a statue that also fell, right? Was she a statue?
She was a statue, but she didn't pass out when she was a statue.
Oh, okay. But I remember it was you and another statue person were very close to the situation, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had no idea. Like I literally had no idea it happened because I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't in that scene.
Mhm.
So I was probably like off in the dressing room or something. And then I remember I walked into the other dressing room where she was, and I was like, "Why are you laying on this table?" And she's like, "Oh, I passed out." And I was like, like I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, so yeah. Do you want to talk about that? Like, what was your experience?
I remember that situation distinctly because, and I can say this, I won't say her name, but like I was dating this person at the time.
Oh my
And
gosh, I totally forgot about that. That
yeah,
does add a little extra spice to
it
the
does add a little
situation.
extra spice. And when it happened, I wasn't on stage, but I was like just going on. So I didn't know this, but like when I found out, someone said, "Hey, where's so and so? And I'm like, I don't know. And so, I feel like a terrible boyfriend that time.
You're like,
I don't fucking know. Like,
right.
but yeah, I just remember someone said like, no one tell Brandon this. I was like, but like, could you though? Could you really?
Yeah. Okay.
'Cause I would
Okay.
like,
Wait. Before we go on about this, I've had the same situation happen where like my the person I was dating was injured, and then they didn't want to tell me because they didn't want me freaking out. But the fact that they didn't know what was happening made it worse. Because I
yeah,
found out later that the injury wasn't even that bad. So I would have been like, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry. Like I hope you feel better."
Mhm.
But like I'm thinking the worst case scenario.
Yeah,
So I bet that's like what it was like for you. Like that's so stressful.
yeah, it was terrible.
Didn't our director like have to like carry her off stage or something? Like was it him or was it another statue?
I think it was another
Or is
person.
it a group like a group effort?
It was a group consensus. I don't know for sure if it was her, but I think it was Anna Norton.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I thought it was something else, but
I don't think she listens to the podcast, but shout out Anna. If it wasn't you, then
I thought it was Gabe.
you thought it was Gabe?
Yeah, that's what I
Really?
thought. But
I
I don't know.
thought it was Anna. I don't know.
I literally like I did not know what happened until after, so like I'm not a good source.
Me too.
Like we were both
Honestly,
like,
so many people were asking me like what happened, and I was like, I
you're
don't
like, I
know.
gotta be real, bro. Wasn't there.
I was not. I was not there. I did not see it happen. I did not. I did not
That's
know.
funny though.
Yeah,
That we both are like, I don't know. Should we keep talking about Mary Poppins or do you want to talk about junior year?
we can talk about junior year. I think we've talked enough about Mary Poppins because
So we got Miracle Worker for
Mhm.
junior year. That was a interesting moment in my life. That was
Yeah.
it was a situation. You were also what was your character's name? I remember you were brother with Hannah, right?
Yeah, I
No.
don't.
Yeah,
I was a brother with Hannah. I don't remember my characters. I think it was Percy. Yeah,
something like that.
something like that.
But yeah, so and then I was Helen Keller's mom,
Hmm.
Kate Keller. Um and this was like the one and only time I was a lead in a play, and I don't know how I liked it. I actually was like super shocked when the cast list came out because I auditioned with no hopes. To be honest, like I didn't think Mr. Avery really knew who I was, or director didn't really know who I was. Um, Other than the fact that my dad took pictures, and so when I got that lead, I was like, he knows me. And like that's also just like a personal thing too. Like I also overanalyze everything, and I'm like nobody cares about me, and that's totally not true. And that's like totally like a that's a me problem, not a him problem.
Ick. Is that an ick?
And ick is like overanalyzing, and it's my own. It's me. I'm an ick.
It's a self ick.
It's a self ick. Yeah. So I had to talk. We had to talk in Southern accents. Then you have to do. You had to do
Yeah. Yell.
it.
I
And
lost.
I hated that. Like you'd think that talking in a Southern accent would be fun.
Hmm.
Um, it was like my least favorite thing about the whole show was having to talk in a Southern accent. And
Hmm.
I think it's solely because it was so difficult for me. Like I could not figure it out. I think that's
Yeah.
it. I think it was just me. But we had like the best teacher ever. We had Mrs. Wood come in, and she's from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yes. And I love her. And she's one of my favorite people on earth. She's the sweetest person on earth. And she would just talk to us, and we would just have to like mimic her. Like, do you remember those little sessions we had where we
Oh,
all just sit in a circle and like mimic?
I
That was
remember
great.
those distinctly. But yeah, I remember hating. Well, not necessarily hating. I just remember like struggling with the Southern accent, especially beginning on. But
Yeah. I had like scenes too where I was supposed to be yelling, and you'd think yelling in a Southern accent would be easy.
yeah.
It's not.
Hmm.
It's not. It's awful. Um, I don't know. I just couldn't get a hang of it. Apparently, it was good enough for the situation, but I was like, wow, this is a challenge, and people like to like I'll tell people that I did a show in a Southern accent and be like, oh my gosh, can you do it for me? And I like loathe it. Like I hate it. Like I don't know why. I don't think I'm good at it. I think it's like an insecurity thing.
I've
Um
I've
yeah.
lost my accent. I like
I can do it a little bit.
Do you want to do it?
I can try. I just remember like I have to like get into it. Like I can't just start talking like this. I have to like think about it. But this is the accent I had to do for the whole show, and I hated it,
Yeah.
and I struggled with it a lot, and I know I broke out of it a lot of times. See, like now I'm British. See like what happened there? Like what? Like no, that show was also incredibly dangerous.
Mm-mm.
I had this scene where I would walk up with this bin of laundry while I was wearing that heavy skirt, and I'd walk up these stairs, but the skirt was kind of long. Remember, I'm a short person,
Mm-hmm.
and also the clothing was supposed to like cover everything because of the time period. So it was like whatever. And I had multiple times where I'd get hooked on the stairs, and if I kept walking and not noticed, I would have fallen on my face. And so I had to like casually like unhook it on the stairs while carrying this basket and like try not to drop it. I had a time where I was walking up and Izzy had to break a pot and a piece fell right in front of my face. And I was like, like, okay, and like would bring it up. Also, there was that one time where Izzy totally like gave Emma a bloody nose or
Oh
something,
yeah, totally.
which was like totally an accident. But like the show was so physical, like she had to be so physical and so aggressive that like I don't know if this for sure, but I feel like she accidentally hit Emma
Yeah.
or something. Or something happened. I don't know. I don't know 100%, but something happened there. Emma got a bloody nose, and it's like all over her costume, and she had to wear that costume again later, and just like have blood on it, and just like casually like go on with it, which was like props to her.
Yeah. It adds to the scene, I guess.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of other things that show. Oh, there was like a time where Izzy's hair, or it was Emma or Izzy's hair got stuck in a button of one of them. And in that scene, Izzy was supposed to come to me,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't because she was stuck. Like somebody was stuck somehow. And I was really confused because I couldn't see what was going on. So I'm like, well, what would my character do? You know, so I storm over there and I realized what's going on. So I like had to unhinge somebody's hair out of whatever button. And I remember after that show, Mr. Avery came up to me, like gave me a hug. It's like, thank you, like for doing that. Like, and I was like just doing my job, just doing my job.
You didn't realize
really big, and I felt really proud of myself for just like going with it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I really do want to talk about was when we had the interpreters
Yeah.
for the show, because obviously the show is about Helen Keller, and so there is sign language used. And then they wanted to invite a deaf audience to see the show. And so they had the two interpreters on the side, and they were lit up really bright. And we'd never rehearsed with them, and I got distracted so easily. Like it was a problem. Like I missed a line. Gabe had to like ask me a question twice for me to understand like what was going on, because I was so like I was not there. I thought it was really cool, but I was like, I wish we had like done a full run or something of the sorts with them before, because I could not focus. Like
Yeah. I just remember my character's debut was early on in the show, and like I was with Izzy and Hannah like near the front of the stage, and I remember just like seeing the interpreters off to the side, and I was also getting kind of distracted too.
yeah.
Honestly, both Emma and Izzy like carried that show. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, they did great. They
They
were amazing.
there was blood, sweat, and tears from
Like
both.
legit.
Honestly, it was impressive for both
It
of them.
was.
Yeah.
I loved that show because of like how much work was put into it. Like you could tell, and you like could see it. Except for one of the final scenes, which I'd also like to talk about, because
Yes.
there's the last scene with the family, and I can tell you this, as much as I kept this to myself, nobody memorized all their lines in that scene. Nobody did.
Really?
They'll all tell you that they knew their lines, and we all thought we did. And then we get to that scene, and it always went differently every time because couldn't remember the lines. None of us. Or like one person would know that their cue was coming, but the other person didn't know their line, or like vice versa. it was rough every time. And it was bad. Like we got yelled at for that often. Not really yelled at. We like Mr. Avery would be like, guys, you need to like get this together. And we're like, you're right, but like I don't think we ever did. I don't think anybody ever did. Because we also had a shorter time to get the show ready, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So like that didn't really help, but like still, like we could have figured it out.
Yeah.
We didn't. So that was the end of my theater career, was that show.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do anything in our senior year
Mm-hmm.
for many reasons, which we can or cannot discuss. I don't know, like what
It's
we want to
all
do
up to
here.
you. If you want to discuss it, I did not put anything about senior year down, but it's always
Okay.
up to you.
Well, I
If you
guess
don't want to talk.
like yeah. All I'll say is that first of all, COVID really hit me in face with like mental health. So I was worried that like I wasn't gonna be able to handle theater because it's like a lot. It's a lot of work. You're like you stay up really late. You have to commit to doing like a lot of things. And I was stressed out with just school on its own, which was the first time I've ever had that issue. Because I used to be like I was part of everything. Like I used to do everything and more. So I think I was like, I just need a break. So that was kind of like one of the bigger reasons why I chose not to do it. I also heard it was gonna be Mamma Mia, and I was like, I do not know how that's gonna go with our school. But I already was like on the page of like not doing it, so it's kind of like okay, that like helps. I wasn't like super interested in doing that show. And there, I'll just say there was a person who joined theater who I knew I could not be around just because of like past circumstances. So I was like, we're just not gonna do it. So I went and watched the show, and I actually had a lot of fun watching it because I think I always like seeing people and be like, oh my gosh, like that's Brandon. Like, oh look at him go. Like I love Brandon. He's great. And like I was totally like fangirling because I was with a couple friends. I ended up getting COVID that night too, so that's awesome. But that's like short for enough time. But like I was with my friends and I was like, oh my gosh, or like there's Dylan and like there's Connor and like Kenzie's over there. Like I had like so much fun just being like, look at my friends go. So I think it was like better for me to just stay out of it. But yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it though. I miss theater a lot.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. I know, yeah. I'm glad you could have like the fangirl moment.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Mm-hmm. This is actually a not terrible segue. You ready for this?
So ready.
Speaking of sad, I want to talk about mental health and isolation.
Yes, let's do it.
Especially in like college or even like senior year in high school. Because all that jazz.
No, yeah, let's go for it.
We've both had our like mental struggles respectively.
Mm-hmm.
What are your? I'm kidding.
No.
Um,
Go ahead.
Obviously, seasonal depression is here because it's January.
Yes.
Do you have any ways that you like get yourself out of like spiraling down a deep hill, or like do you wish you have some ways?
That is actually a really good question because I don't know. My biggest thing right now is just my goal is to focus on school this semester because last semester I was so focused on like being with people and like having fun and like getting myself out there, and you'd think that'd be healthy, but my ways of doing it were like incredibly unhealthy and caused me to feel worse than better. So I'm like, okay, we're not doing that. So what I'm trying to do right now is just like focus on school, but like in a healthy way, like not like I go to bed when I'm tired. Like we're not trying to like high school where we'd pull all nighters and be like, fuck my mental health, fuck my sleep schedule. Like we're getting this done. Like trying to be respectful to myself. I also have like gone to like doodling, like a lot.
Yeah.
Which like I guess it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. Like I don't think this is like a universal thing, but even like writing or like just drawing and like because it makes you focus on something else other than yourself. And even if it's like something to express how you are feeling, like you're getting it out. You're not sitting there like by yourself, like soaking in all your sad, all your depression, all your like anxiety, all your like I'm a terrible person, nobody loves me, like those feelings. Like you're not like keeping them in, you're like pushing them out, like you're like expressing it in a way. And so that's kind of helped a little bit. I also have just been a little bit more honest with people, which is like
Yeah.
easier said than done. But like last night, I was like not doing well. And I literally just like texted my boyfriend and I was like, hey, can you please remember to say goodnight to me before you go to bed? I know I'm going to take it more personally than I need to tonight. Like, I'm not feeling good. Like, and it's like a stupid thing. It's literally stupid. But like, I knew that like if he didn't communicate to me, I was just going to be like, I was going to spiral into this because I was already not doing well. I was going to spiral into this whole thing of him like, he doesn't like me anymore. He's not talking to me. Like he didn't say goodnight to me. He's ignoring me. Like, what is he doing? It's Friday night. Is he like out with girls? Like stuff that I don't need to think about. Don't need to spiral about. Like, and it's like easy solution. Just like, can you text me before you go to bed? And then like he did, and then like I was fine. Or another thing too is just like, for me, it's like when I'm alone at night, like I get into these thoughts, and so like sometimes I just want to talk to somebody. It's not like all the time because like I do enjoy my alone time, but I can even like text somebody. Like I do this with Kenzie Lodge. What are you doing right now? Can you just call me? And then you're like for your 10-minute phone call, like you're not by yourself. And like I think it just helps. Those are like my things, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. I kind of just like went and rambled.
They all made sense to me. I've even tried some of that stuff for my myself because sometimes like it's hard to like get yourself out of a bit of a spiral. I also had kind of a terrible night last night too, so it was like that's kind of funny.
Nice. We're all just struggling.
We're on the struggle bus together. But like I wanted to like talk about it because I feel like even though there's been a lot of progress, I feel like mental health and like anxiety has this weird stigma that like it's taboo to talk about stuff like that. And I felt like you would be the perfect guest to have in order to like talk about it because I
feel good about that.
Struggle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think too what's interesting right now is there has been a stigma, but I think that's slowly going away, but now it's becoming a trend. And I don't like that.
That's the thing because I feel like a lot of people think it's like it's hip to be depressed. Like it's not. It's really not.
And that's like one thing too is that like I have never been diagnosed professionally with depression or anxiety.
Yeah.
So I will never go around and say that like I am depressed in that sense. I think people don't understand the difference between like depression and being depressed. Because I think everybody can go through a state of being depressed. It's a feeling, it's an emotion. And I think I've just had that more often recently because of where I'm at. And I have had counselors be like, I think you have something, but it's not severe. So like I feel like I can understand people a little bit more, but it does frustrate me when like I'm susceptible to this too, but like the joke of just like, oh my gosh, like they gave me a small fry instead of eating one. I'm so depressed. And you're like, like I make that joke sometimes, so like I'll totally be honest, but it's like you're like, no, you're not. Or like when people are like, oh my god, I have like really bad anxiety, or I have OCD, I need to put my pens in order. Like people don't actually know what it's like to have like diagnosed anxiety where it's like you are constantly freaking out and you sometimes don't even know what it is, like all the time. Or like people with OCD, it's not that they need to have their room in rainbow order. It's that they think that if they don't flick the light switch on and off 7 times, their family's going to die. Like that's totally different. Like that is so different. And people just don't get it. So it's becoming this trend of like, oh my gosh, I get anxious sometimes. And like so many people can relate to it. It's like, oh my gosh, I might have anxiety. And you're like, no, like that's like everybody relates to it because it's normal to be anxious sometimes. It's normal to feel depressed sometimes. It's normal to want to clean your room sometimes. Like that's normal. It's people who deal with this to an extreme that are like different. Like they have different issues and we shouldn't take that lightly, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And I also agree with the whole joking about like, oh, I only got a small fry. I am depressed. Because like
Yeah.
the thing is, I think the difference between like us joking about it and like someone who doesn't really actually like have depression, but is only like feeding into this weird trend of like, I hate saying that it's a trend, but like,
I mean, it kind of is, but
yeah, I hate saying it, but it's kind of true. Like the difference between us and them is that we actually like understand, and like I feel like we can like joke about it, and it's like it makes this is
yeah.
weird wording, but it makes sense for us to joke about it because we actually have we
Because
gone
you've been
through
there. Yeah.
it, and it's like
Yeah.
self-awareness a little bit. But like I don't know, I feel like people, it's become very like normalized, like a little too normalized, I guess, because
Mhm.
people think it's like no big deal, but like it should be a big deal, but also it should be normalized. And I feel like we haven't really found a healthy balance between the two when it comes to talking about mental
Yeah.
health. Hmm.
Yeah. For real. Because like it's totally like a huge thing, and people want to talk about it until you really want to talk about it. Like I'll be like, I'm going through a lot, like it's really rough, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's really hard, and then I'll bring up like this is like kind of like a big thing, but like I'll bring up the fact that my uncle committed suicide because he was so depressed, and then it's awkward, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, death is an awkward thing to talk about, but that's depression. Like
Hmm.
that's what it is like getting to that point where like not everybody experiences it, but like a lot of people can get to that point to where they're like, this is my only solution. And like it's a legit thing. And so the fact that people can't talk about that shows that like people haven't really accepted it yet. Um, so it's kind of interesting that like how people view it. Like it's like so lighthearted recently, even though like I think a lot of people romanticize it. It's like the best word to use. It's like
Yeah.
they like this idea where it's like, oh, it's so cool, or it's so trendy, it's so like everybody goes through, like it's like quirky to be depressed. It's like cool and different, and it's like it's definitely different, but it's not cool. Like for
Yeah.
people going through it, it is not cool at all. So yeah.
Hmm. No, you hit the nail on the head when saying it, people have romanticized being like depressed and
Mhm.
emo. No, not emo, but like, because that's
But yeah.
like
Yeah.
close association. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, it's kind of like it's weird. It is weird. It is weird to talk about mental health, and that is a fact. But where was I going with this?
No, I get it.
Yeah, it's weird to talk about mental health, but yeah, I feel like it's necessary sometimes. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think one thing that I am happy about is because of this a little bit more accepting view of mental health, um, people seeking out help has become more like available, more like okay, like people are more okay with it. And I even would say that not everybody who has been totally diagnosed with something like they can still need a therapist sometimes.
Hmm.
Like honestly, like counselors aren't there to like solve your mental illness all the time. They're there to help you walk through it or walk through that situation that's making it worse, or um like teach you how to deal with certain things. Like they're not there to like fix it. That's not
Yeah.
their job. It's so like I think everybody could use it, to be
Hmm.
honest. And I'm glad that like that stigma of like going to a counselor is like gone and it's more accepting. And like if I say I went to a counselor, somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, that's good. Like, how did it go?" And like that's it. Not like a for why. Like why did you go? Like what do you need that for? Are you okay? Like no, it's just like that's how it be, you know?
It'd be like that.
So yeah.
And I feel like, especially, this is gonna be a weird thing to say, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the pandemic has made it a little more normalized. I feel like that's like a main contributor of people like normalizing depression because everyone was kind of isolated and not really talking to much people and only had like Zoom or FaceTime to like communicate, especially during like the first initial lockdown. But
Mhm.
I feel like that was like a big contributor to normalizing it. It's weird that a pandemic kind of did a good thing. You know?
Yeah, I think it kind of did a good thing, but I also think it made it normalized because like more people ended up being affected by it because
Yeah.
the spike of like mental health, like mental illnesses, like of like people dealing with it or being more aware that they're dealing with it, it went up after this pandemic. Like I feel like I'm a okay example. I literally felt like a totally normal person before the pandemic happened. I was totally happy. I was content with my life. I loved school. I loved being involved in things. I spent time with my family. I had friends. Like it was I was fine. And then this pandemic hit and I had my parents asking me if I wanted to take antidepressants in the middle of this pandemic. Like it was to the point where even like my parents were noticing that I am different. Like, and it totally like changed me. Like, I got out of the pandemic and I didn't really want to do anything. I didn't hang out with my friends as much. I barely talked to my family. Like, it was like I literally avoided them at all costs during the pandemic. Um, I started lying a lot more. I was like more secretive about things. I like hid in my room all the time. Like, I was self isolating even more than I needed to be, essentially. And like, I think part of that made it worse, but like there was a shift. There was a shift in something. Something happened, and I think it's because like that like people need people as much as an introvert as you think you are. Like people need people to function. Like you need to have a connection. You need to be connected. And this pandemic cut all of the real connections off, and so it's hard for people to get like back into it like normal. I think because like for such a long time they were like stuck.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I I remember like and trying to adjust to it as soon as people like laws said like, hey, you can like be with a couple of people. And I was
Mhm.
like, how the fuck do I talk to people now?
Yeah, for
But
real.
and I there's still time. I don't know if you relate to this too, but like there's still times where I feel like I'm still adjusting. Like
Mhm.
it's constantly adjusting to trying to like find a group, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes you're just isolated in like an area, and you feel like you can't get out of it. You know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's harder too because like now we're in college and we're in like a totally different and we were still adjusting and now like we have to adjust in a new area.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me especially, I don't want to like speak for both of us, but like finding a group of people I enjoy being with has been so difficult that like I cannot honestly say I have that group. Like I do not have that group at all. Um And when people do want to hang out with me, I'm like shocked or repulsed. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Like, what do you want? Like what? And I think my social battery has also gone down, like goes like empties really fast. Like I used to like hang out with people all the time. Like I said, like in high school, I was involved in everything. So you go to school for 6 hours, and then you have your student council meeting, and then I'd go to soccer practice, and then I would go to theater, and like so I'm hanging out with people like my whole day. But now I'm like I hang out with somebody for an hour, and I'm literally like I have to go home. I have to go to bed. Like I can't do this anymore, no matter who it is, and
Yeah.
it's a bummer because like there's people I love so much, and I love being around them, and then I'm just like, eh. And it's
Yeah.
not even them. It's just how it is.
I I'm so glad you mentioned that because that happens to me too, and it kind of sucks because like I feel like some people think I'm gonna speak for me too. That like I feel like I have a reputation of like, oh, he seems like a very sociable person, but sometimes I'm not. That's the thing.
Mhm.
And then like it kind of sucks having to like have people expect that you're gonna be super social and like wanting to talk to people, but sometimes you just don't want to. And I'm so glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that because it normalizes stuff. Yeah,
Yes. 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 It's okay to want to spend time by yourself.
yeah. But
It is
also
totally okay.
you just need a healthy mix. That's
Yes.
the message we're trying to get out to the people of America today.
Exactly. You
Yes.
have to have a healthy mix.
Hmm.
So yes.
I think that's a good note to end on. Bella, thank you so much for coming. At the end of the episodes, I've decided this is a weird tradition that I'm trying to force onto people. I want to have the guests say like one final word, which could just be like a funny statement, weird piece of advice, anything they want to say as a closing statement. You get it? You get
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't really prep you on this at all.
No.
So this is off the cuff. What's the final word you want to say? I can edit it so it seems like you
God.
just like thought of it.
Wait. Can I actually have like a good piece of advice? Like, does it have to be goofy? Can it be like genuine?
It can be genuine. It can be whatever.
Okay, I've a good piece of advice that I found has helped me recently. Keep your room clean in general. Not like if you're like a naturally messy person, clean can be whatever you feel like it is. Keep your room clean because that helps your mental health. As soon as you feel like your room's being messy, it's your depression room coming. You need to take care of it. That is my advice. Thank you.
That's some good advice. That is some good advice. And I need to follow that soon because my room's starting to get a bit
Clean
messy.
your room, Brandon.
I will. Okay.
Good.
Yeah. I'm glad you remind me. Bye.